Welcome back to the shop and to the channel. Trying to get a few more things wrapped up here with the Black Diamond drill grinder. I think I've started to figure out some of this. Some viewers were nice enough to send me some photocopies of manuals as well as some other photos that I think put a little bit of this into perspective, especially on how this web thinning attachment, I believe is what it's referred to, works. But I want to try and fix a couple of mistakes that I made. Well, not so much mistakes, but one of them was. And that was, of course, one of them was this data plate on the back here. I knew that Super Clean was pretty aggressive, or it can be, and I wasn't paying attention, and I should have taped this off, and I didn't. And it took all the printing off of this. But I think I have something that I'm willing to try. We'll see how it goes. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. I'm really only out a few bucks in a little bit of time. And there's some other graphics on this thing I wouldn't mind trying to fix, including the drill locator range chart that's on the shield. I'll show you that in a minute. But I went ahead on the computer, drew up some of this graphics. The text came a little bit off kilter on this data plate, but this is printed on a transparent glossy material that's adhesive backed. So I'm kind of hoping that if I clean all that off really good with some acetone, that this will stick to it. We'll find out. Well, the first thing I want to do is I want to try to clean off the rest of what's left on here with a little bit of acetone. You can see where the stampings were. I'm wondering if I can't try to darken that up here a little bit with a Sharpie, because these are going to be underneath the transparent area, but I would like them to be at least a little bit visible. That's a little bit better. Not much, but a little bit better. I went ahead and cut this out. Now it's not going to quite fit around the rivets, so I need to trim it just a little bit more. They should be rounded, but I think what I'm going to do now, just to make it a bit easier, I just clipped the corners off of this thing, and it looks like I need to trim it just a little bit more. This is by no means a Von Industrial replacement or anything of that sort. This is just to kind of make it a little bit better. So, well, take the back off of this and see how it sticks. I'm not really all that optimistic that it's going to stick well, but like I said, this cost me a couple of dollars in the adhesive sheets, like 25 of them. So if it doesn't work, it's really not that big of a deal. Kind of disappointing, but we'll try something else, see how it goes. All right, my hands are going to be in the way of the camera. Not much I can do about that, I think. It's actually sticking pretty good, believe it or not. I'm just trying to get it straight and centered. Oh, well, it's not necessarily straight and centered, but that's better than what it was. Hey, I'm really happy about that. That worked. I'm pleasantly surprised. Yeah, it's not quite the original. I'll put up a picture of what the original looked like, but it's pretty daggone close. All right, I feel a little bit better. Maybe one day I'll redo this. I'll pop those rivets off and I'll do this a little bit better. But for now, that's going to work. On to the next piece. On the very top of the grinder is this locator turret. This is for setting the drill bit angle and length and stuff, so it only grinds off the amount that you want. And you know, this is, again, this is not in terrible shape, but it's not in great shape either. But I figured if I was going to go through the trouble of making the graphic for the data plate, I wonder if I could make one for this too. And that's what this piece is over here. So I figure I'll go ahead and replace that too while I'm at it. Okay, so I marked the holes where the mounting holes will be. I didn't mark these other ones, but those should be easy enough to pop out. Now I did make this just a little bit bigger. I didn't cut this all the way out. I figure I can trim it once it's all adhered. Just using the razor blade here to separate the backing. Now this one right here might be a little trickier because I'm going to have to line it up over top of existing graphics. Yeah, not too bad. You can, it was faded sufficiently enough that you can't really see the old graphics. Now I don't know that this is really going to last a long time, or if this is just going to end up coming off, but this actually isn't as adhering as well as the data plate did. And with the edges, this could get tore up pretty quick. Not terrible. I do need to punch those holes all the way through. Just cut them with the razor blade, and then we'll remount it. Not too shabby. Now up here on the top of the shield here for the wheel, there's a plate here which, based on the size of the drill you're using, tells you which location of the turret to use. And that was already obliterated before I got this machine, and then once I started cleaning everything in Super Clean, it pretty much took care of the rest. It actually took me quite a while to figure out what this plate was supposed to say on it. Mine, you couldn't really read much of it, and most of them only have 6 rows. Some are even shorter than that, but this has an 8 turret. There were 7 locators in it, and I finally found one that had all 7. Somebody on Practical Machinist Forum had this exact same drill grinder, was able to provide a photograph of his in which I was able to recreate it from that. Here we go. Hopefully these will hold up over time. I don't know if they will, but worst case scenario, I'll reprint them again. I've got the artwork now, so if I were to need to remake these in some other durable medium, I have it. So, all right, next. This plate here is used to set the drill point angle, and it's in pretty rough shape. I was able to figure out how to recreate it, but I have the feeling this will get tore up faster than this. I really don't want to lose the graphic that's on here, so I'm just going to try to lightly clean this, because of course the most common one is 118 degrees. You can't really see that line, but it's for that one there. I'm hoping that my version of this will overlay on top of it enough to where you can't see that it's an overlay. If you can, I'll just peel it off And maybe what I'll end up having to do is obliterate the existing ink. I really don't want to do that. But in order, I won't do that unless I absolutely have to. But I'm pretty sure that this printer paper, this is just off of my inkjet printer, that I don't know how durable this ink is really going to be. So it may not hold up to me moving that drill point, but quite frankly, I probably won't move it off of 118 degrees anyway. So, we'll see. Worst thing that could happen is I peel this off, and hopefully by peeling it off, it doesn't peel off what's underneath it. But, I can recreate it if I have to. I would imagine that even if the drill point angle is 117.5 or 118.5 degrees, it doesn't exactly come out to 118 degrees. It's not going to be the end of the world for this. But let's see. I'm trying to keep my hands out from in front of the camera and still be able to see what I'm doing. I'll end up with some double vision here, I think. Tell you what, having a camera in the way makes everything out here so much harder. I mean, that is not half bad, if I do say so myself. It's a little off, a little double vision, but I think it's pretty daggone close. I can at least see the 118 line a little bit better. Yeah, I might have to give that some thought whether or not I'm going to keep this on here or not. I guess time will tell as to when I mount this. Is that am I going to be able to see it? And I think I will. I think it'll be fine. It actually doesn't even rub on that much at all, does it? No, it doesn't. I think that'll work. I suppose if I don't like the double vision part of it, I will go ahead and just obliterate what's on there, because it's pretty daggone close. Okay, next. Well, as you can probably tell, I do have a grinding wheel on this now. I got that from Rush Machinery. This thing was expensive. It was a little over $100 for that thing. But I still have two more things I need to do before I can actually put this thing to use. Number one is I need to mount the drill holder. I was thinking I was going to need some kind of different kind of hardware to hold this thing down, because it's a 1/4-20 threaded hole, but the opening in the top of the drill holder is enormous. But all the photos I'm seeing all have 1/4-20 cap screws. So, but what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to make some kind of a better washer or something to fit down in here, because it just feels like there's a lot of space, or at least a heavier dutier washer for the top of this, because I don't think I have anything ready. I might just go ahead and spin something up on the lathe. The other thing I really need for this thing is the face and side wheel dressers, and those mount here. And there's two different wheel dressers. One is to mount the to face the OD. And so it mounts back here and it's hinged. And the other one mounts here and it's hinged this way to dress the face. However, that one is, the one on the back is just free. You just use your hand to move it. The one on the front, though, there's this little crank wheel setup that attaches to the base, and that lets you lever it back and forth. That setup is non-existent. I've seen photos, and I think it'll be pretty easy to manufacture. The difficulty will be in getting the dresser so it's exactly where this needs to be here, because the point is you want to dress the wheel, and then when you put the drill holder on here and you're grinding your drill or sharpening it, you only want to take off about 5/1000ths of an inch each grind. So the position of that diamond here is kind of critical, just to avoid having to do a bunch of extra adjustment. I mean, it's not end of the world if it's not perfect, but trying to find parts for this thing is going to be nearly impossible. So I'm better off just trying to make it, and I'll have to do up some drawings. I've got some people that are offering to, create some drawings of the ones that they have, and that will certainly help me get a little bit further along. But in the meantime, I need to find or make some washers to mount this drill holder. So even though it may not be set up perfectly, and this wheel is not faced, although it's faced, I'm sure, from the factory, maybe I can grind a drill if I can get this mounted up. Alrighty, so we're going to make a couple of washers here. I've got some 3/4 inch TPG, I think. We'll get this mounted up in the lathe. I'm going to start just by facing this off. I don't know how well my microphone is going to work here with the machine running. Next, I'm going to come in here with the center drill. Now I'm going to come in here with a 17/64 drill. I don't need to go in very deep. A little anchor lube on here. I'm not going very deep. I'm going to go a little bit deeper just so I'm sure I have enough room here to make 2 washers out of this. Alright, that's good. Chamfer that edge. And now comes my favorite part of any machining operation. Parting off. I dread this. It never goes well. Alright, well, we're going to start by coming in here, getting close. I'm going to use a scale here. Alright. There we go. That's good. Now I'm going to zero my travadial, because I'm going to make these 125 thousandths. So we'll come over 100. 125 thousandths. I want a nice thick washer on here. And now, what gives me the most luck is if I slow this thing down. So I'm going to put it in back gear and run it nice and slow. I've had some luck using the power feed, but I find that it still has a tendency to dig in, and I'm a little bit gun shy. So let's see. Make sure it's Nice and lubricated. Everything is locked down as best I can on this lathe anyway. If I power feed at all with this lathe, it's usually the slowest and finest power feed. But the problem is, it just seems to dig where the cutoff blade will dig under, and once it does that, before I go any further, go ahead and chamfer this other side here with the file. Well, at least take down the burr as best I can. I've checked the height of my cutoff tool repeatedly, and it is on center, or at least I believe it is. I should check it again. It's especially heinous when I'm cutting off all the way. Here I've got a bore in the center of this, so it might be a little less catastrophic. Get the chip out of the way. Getting kind of close. Oh, there it did it. Did what I thought it was going to do. It broke the insert. Well, let me replace the insert and we'll try again. Dang it. Okay, fresh insert in here. And as far as I can tell, it is pretty much on center, maybe slightly above. I mean, there is some play in this, but let's keep going. I got extra inserts. Piece of aluminum welding wire in here to catch this thing. I've tried power feeding this thing at faster speeds, and all it does is break the insert faster. So this lathe just does not have the level of rigidity that I need for those kinds of operations, unfortunately. Just the way it is. I'm going to go ahead and face this off again before I part off the next one. It seems like I can go a little more aggressively at start because I've got a higher surface feet per minute, but as I get closer to the center, that's when problems seem to arise. So maybe that's part of what I've just been trying to do, is slow down as I get toward the center of the part. And that seems to help a little, but I don't know, between this compound and the cross slide and this tool post, I'm sure there's all sorts of rigidity issues here that I can make some improvements. I've been thinking about taking this compound and cross slide off and scraping them in and trying to get a little more precision on the surface. Maybe that'll help with some of the rigidity issues. I don't know. Trying not to get too cocky, because just when it's going well is usually when something goes wrong, right? And maybe I'm not going hard enough, because if it doesn't break the chip, maybe that's what's causing it to, there we go, causing it to bind. It actually went pretty good. Happy about that. Yeah, I think I'm going to take these over to the surface grinder and clean these up. Why not? Because I have it. I'm going to do it. All right, here. I'm over here at the surface grinder. No need for coolant here. I'm just going to place these directly on here. Oh, are these not? Maybe I won't. These are stainless. Oh, these are stainless. I have a stainless rod because they're not magnetic. So I guess I won't be cleaning these up on the surface grinder. Oh well. They'll just have to be a little. I'll put the ugly side down. Well, that was certainly interesting. I did not expect these to be stainless steel. But I'll have to go mark that piece of stock then, so I know it is for the future whenever I pull it out again. All right, there we go. Put the ugly side down. All right, let's move this to 118 degrees. All right, I could try sharpening a drill with it. All right, let's see. I've got a drill that I grabbed out of, it's actually not too bad, but we're going to try sharpening it anyway. This happens to be a letter A. According to the chart up here, letter A, I should use spot 4 to locate it. I've got the letter A collet. This slides into here. All right, then I slide this in, and I line up the web on this indicator. I'm going to push this all the way in, turn to the right, and then tighten it. And now that should have the web right where it's supposed to be in order to sharpen it. It's set at the right length. So according to the manual, with it set like this, if everything else is correct, I should take about 10 thousandths off of the webbing. All right, let's plug this thing in. We'll move it around to where we can see from the front here. This wheel isn't dressed, so I don't know how well this is going to turn out. Just kind of want to get it to touch off. There we go. All right. So the way I understand this works is this cam follows the end of the bit, and you ride it along there, and as you do, it sharpens, and then you move down to this, rotates around, and you sharpen the other side. So I have this barely touching. Lock this down, lock the motor. Well, I might have to bring that up just a little bit. All right. But that's very interesting. Got a little warm. It's got a little discoloration on it. In just a hair. Lock the motor down. Try to take off a little bit more. Very interesting. I'm going to go a little bit more. I know that's going to be really hard to see. Let's see if I can zoom in here and focus. I mean, that looks pretty good. Let's go put it in a drill press. See if we can make a hole in something. Well, before I get set up over here at the drill press, I did want to look at something. And I've got this drill angle gauge. And focus. And, you know, that's 118 degrees on there. I don't see any gaps. So I think it did a good job with that. I got a piece of mystery metal here. I don't even know what this is. Let's see how we did. There it is. Drilled all the way through. That really took no effort whatsoever. 1/2-inch piece of steel. Freshly sharpened drill. Yeah, that makes me happy. Very happy. Yeah, that worked out really nice. Looks like a good grind. You know, I don't think I could do that by hand. You know, once I look back at the video and zoom in on it, it'll give me a better idea of how good that looks. I mean, that's 118 degrees all day. So, yeah. I need to figure out that split point thing. I don't know how much I'm going to need web thinning on the stuff that I do, but I think it's useful for drilling certain materials. That's the same thing with altering the angle. Right, I can alter the angle if I'm going to create a set of drill bits for, say, brass. If I start doing a lot more brass, then maybe I'll grind a set of bits just for brass and change the angle. But yeah, I'm super happy about this. I need to find that wheel dresser or make one. I'm happy with how the replacement tags came out. I can actually read them now. So yeah, I'm going to take this over and put it in its semi-permanent home because things change around here. All right, here is where it's going to stay, at least for now. I've got this shelving in the back corner of the shop. I put in a little under counter LED lamp so I can see what I'm working on. I've got all my collets. I think I have all of them. There might be a few that aren't in here, but there was another bunch of different collets and collet holders, so there could be some spares. I know that you can find these sometimes, but they can be a bit expensive. Many of these things are fairly beat up. I'm sure that's not the right spot for that one because it doesn't look like a number 20. But I have a few. I got some duplicates in here as well, but yeah, I think I have just about all the sizes that I would need. I do have up to 1/2 inch. Again, I'm not sure exactly what some of these are. That's 21/32 it looks like. So I should have most of the collets that I need. I suppose if I do run into a situation where I don't have something, I could probably find it on eBay. But I think this is at a good working height. I can get over top of it. And then once I figure out this whole web thinning thing, I think that's at a good level too. So the thing that I'm still missing is the wheel dresser and maybe some kind of a dust collection. I don't know. I've heard the CBN wheels are the cat's pajamas for these, but I don't think that's in the budget for this shop anyway. This did have the ability to have a mist coolant on it. It may have come with it when this was originally built, but it is long gone. Maybe, if I start sharpening drills all day long, maybe that's something I'll look into. But quite frankly, this is going to be just the occasional used machine. But it's going to be great for the situation in which I dull a bit and I need to sharpen it. I still have to learn a few things about how to set up like this ring here. It's got two different positions. What's the deal with that? Don't know. Supposedly this ring here can move, rotate for different types of split point web thinning, but it's seized in here. It doesn't move. This is supposed to lock it. If I take this out, this doesn't move. So that is probably a foregone conclusion that will never be changed from there. It's probably going to stay on 118 degrees the whole time too. So I can't, at least until I start doing more stuff with brass, in which I'm going to want to take a set of drills and grind them just for brass. But yeah, I'm super happy about this. I've been wanting something to sharpen drills for a while. I would really like to get a set of Cleveland twist drills and put them in an A-bomb 79 drill index. As soon as Adam makes some blue ones, I'd love to buy one from him. I like the green, but he showed a sample of a blue one. That's what I want. I want a blue one. I've done a little bit more reading on the manuals. I've been sent or discovered several different versions of a manual for this thing, and so I got a little bit better understanding how I need to use both of these. I don't know if I fully understand it, but we'll give it a try. I've got another drill here. I want to try my hand at sharpening. This is pretty chowdered up, and I'm going to try using the web thinning attachment for this thing as well. So this is, let's see, what does this say? 21/64. So I need to find that collet. 21/64 is this one here. Place this in the small bushing, or whatever you would call this. This goes into the master collet here. I'm told that you should line up the slots between the collet and the bushing. Okay, so it's 27/64. According to the chart here, that would be position 6. So it's 3/8 to 31/64. So we'll move this over to position 6. We'll rotate that so the webs are fitting in there. Push it in. This sets the length. And then rotating this tightens it up. So that should be the correct length. All right. Now, of course, I don't have any way of dressing this, so we're just going to do it this way. I am going to move this in a little bit. I want to sharpen on this darker part of the wheel. That's the coarser. And since I don't really know how to set the distance here, I'm going to do what I did before and just kind of move this and touch it off. Okay, that's touching there. And then I'm going to advance it one mark to give it that 10/1000ths cut. Power on. And I should be rotating clockwise. And I don't need to push it in all the way at first. Okay, I'm going to advance this just a little bit more. Okay, on one side, so it looks like I'm getting the primary and secondary relief on this side, but I haven't gotten any of the secondary relief on this side, so I'm going to go a little bit deeper. Okay, we're getting a grind on both the primary and secondary relief. Just go a touch more. We can see here how well you can see that. We'll zoom in. We're getting good grinds on the primary and secondary relief. A little bit of a burr on there. Now the secondary relief on this could be better. Maybe I want to go a little bit deeper yet. I think I will. Well, you can see that. All right. Let's see if we can do a little web thinning on it. Now, I will say I don't really know what I'm doing here with this because I'm not sure how to adjust the drill left or right to thin this down a little bit. So I am going to experiment. I just want to take off a little bit. So there's a couple of holes that line up with this pin. And so we'll just slowly just kind of peck that in here. I've got a stop set, which is probably too shallow. Turn it around to the other side. I'm letting it cool off a little bit. I don't want to burn the drill up. This is my first time doing this, so it's likely wrong. Not to mention the wheel isn't dressed. It's doing something. I just don't know if it's right. Well, I'm going to end that there. I'm not sure I'll be doing too much of that. But essentially, I don't know how well you can see what it did. That little grind here. From what I understand, this is, if it's done correctly, this kind of puts the drill as sort of self-centering. I don't know what I'm doing here with that, so I probably screwed this up some, but yeah, it did something. Maybe I'll try to drill with it, see what it does. I'd say that's pretty pretty remarkable. Maybe I will do more of that web thinning on my drills. Yeah, that was effortless, really. That's a good sharp drill bit. Well, that's going to wrap up this video and wrap up this drill grinder. When I get around to figuring out what I'm going to do for wheel dressers, if I make them, I'll probably do a video on it. But if I find them, maybe I'll just throw it into an odds and ends video. But that's going to be it for now. I'm really happy that this cleaned up nice. Everything seems to be operational. Yeah, super stoked. Well, if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. Drop me a comment down below. Let me know if there's something that you learned. Maybe something I missed, because I am always learning. I love reading the comments. I do learn a lot from reading those comments. So if you got something constructive that you want to present, please drop a comment down below. If you're not a subscriber, I would really appreciate it if you consider subscribing. It does help the channel grow. The YouTube algorithm likes to see those subscriber counts go up. And if you'd like to support the channel in other ways to help make these videos possible, there's some links down in the description to become a channel member, a Patreon supporter, or even to throw something my way via PayPal. All of that is super, super appreciated and is just what makes making these videos possible. Well, that's it for now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.